Welcome to Sunday Sessions with Heidi and Courtney. It is a pleasure to see you all today, and I'm going to start off by asking Courtney about this amazing piece behind me. It is gorgeous, Courtney.
Oh, thank you, Heidi.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, it's the last piece I made, the last big mandala. I decided, the green springtime theme, was the beautiful greens background and the fresh flowers sprouting out of it, whatever. It's a kind of a springtime theme, but the idea was to have you know what a glade is? A glade is an opening in a forest. It's a natural opening caused by, a pool of water, a flood, down trees, whatever. But over the centuries or millennia, it becomes a clear area that often has a lot of moss and grasses and, of course, some flowers. And whenever you come across a forest glade, it's usually a really magical spot. So anyways, the idea going in is to create a forest glade. So that this is it.
Beautiful. It's gorgeous. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you, Heidi.
All right, here we go. Another great story coming your way.
So I think I left off, we were headed for Acapulco. Right, we left a little village in the mountains and we're headed for Acapulco. Oh yeah. So it's a long drive and we have a few, I remember dropping off at some out of the way, like a bed and breakfast or something. It wasn't quite a bed and breakfast, but it had a restaurant. We had to have dinner, so we had this paella because paella is a traditional dish, and I said, well, what's in the paella? I said, oh, a rabbit, and stuff like. Anyway, we get this great big tureen is like delivered to our table, and a big ladle, and we've all got bowls, and kind of stirring it up, and this skull comes up to the top, and it's got razor sharp little teeth and canines and stuff like that. And I said, that is not a rabbit. It looks like a gato, a cat. And I said, excuse me, senorita, gato? She said, oh, no, whatever rabbit is. I was like, but, it's like canines, they're like, she said, no, it's rabbit, it's okay. And I said, well, cat skull, total cat skull.
Oh no.
Well, it was critter.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm used to critter. I'll just go with it, right? So we have critter gato soup. And she said, do not make trouble. You gringos here, you have a Mexican friend, but don't make trouble. Men, they don't like white men. They got guns on you. I was like, really? Do I have to eat the cat head? It's like, well, anyway, we got out of there. I was like, is it going to be like this all the way, He said, no, that was just, Sure enough, it was like that everywhere. Like, no, they don't.
Oh dear.
White dudes, Gringos. Fucking gringos. Excuse me. Anyway, for the most part, everybody I met, south of the border were just beautiful people. There was easygoing, simple lives, pure lives. They were just lovely people. But of course, there's always, discontent and graft and, all that stuff. We didn't have trouble with police, thank goodness, because that was, that would have been the worst. They're probably the most corrupt. Anyway, we finally get to Acapulco, but on the way, we're in this Buick Electra, like I said, it's like 23 feet long or something. It's like enormous. And we're up in this, like, we're cross country, and we come over this ridge, and it's nighttime now, and you can see the lights of Acapulco, on the coast, out there, against the ocean, the deep ocean, and all this lights, and it looks so magical. But we are in the wilderness. We're up in a mountain somewhere, and we're crawling over these basically tracks, on the mountainside. And I'm doing the best I can to, bring this boat around, through these narrow little, which drops off, for hundreds, thousands of feet, some places. I come around this curve, and there's this great big black bull standing in the middle of the road. And I'm going, oh my God, there's nowhere to go. And I'm like braking like crazy, and the thing is like sliding towards the edge, and he finally moves off just before I would have, bumped him and probably knocked me off the road.
Oh no.
And he moves off, and I get around it, and I was like, big red eyes, and he was like, what the? And he said, oh, that wasn't on the map. A little unexpected. Anyway, we got past that sentry, that guardian or whatever, and we proceeded on the way down, all the way down to the coast, and Acapulco, Acapulco, of course, is right. Even then, back in the late 60s, it was really busy. It was well known. It was a exotic place. And we spent one night in a hotel, and we decided, we didn't want to be, on a beach with, thousands of other tourists, and all of everything that goes with that. So we went 10 miles up the coast, and we ended up in this little place, Zacatunga, something like that. It used to be an army outpost on the ocean front, and it had been given over to being, a bunch of huts on the beach, run by, a family. So we lease a couple of huts, one for Tony and Tony, one for Moises, and one for myself, because it's dirt cheap. And the next morning we get up and go into the ocean, and the ocean is so wonderful. It's like big surf coming up, and I'm really the only one out in the surf. Everybody's like on the beach. And, the first day was great. I just surfed and surfed, body surfing up onto the beach, And on the second day or so, I'm doing my surfing. They're all just hanging out on the beach. And I get caught in this, like, just tumultuous, like, rollers that are tumbling me. And they surf me up on this, it's kind of a pebble beach. And I'm trying to get out of this wave, and it's crashed, and I get rolled into the pebbles, and then it started, and it's sucking back, and I'm trying to crawl out of the pebbles, and I'm crawling back, and I'm sliding back, and everything's like dragging me back, and I'm just about to get out from the tug and get up, onto the beach, and another wave just comes crashing down on me and rumbles me in, and I get buried under these pebbles, and I'm digging my way up, and I go, and again and again, and my friends, because there was nothing they could do, they were almost a handbreadth away. They couldn't do anything. If they got in there, they'd be sucked out too. And this is why it was cheap. It was like, it wasn't a resort quality place, you could die there. Anyway, oh my God, time after time I got tumbled in the waves, and I got to about 10 waves, and I'm exhausted, I'm done. I'm like, I can't, what am I going to do? There's no, maybe I can swim out past the breakers and find another place to come in, but I'm already exhausted. That kind of option is kind of gone. And And sure enough, I get sucked back out on this 11th wave, you know, and I'm tumbled, and you know, I'm like digging my way out of the pebbles, you know, and you know, somebody throw me a rope, you know. Anyway, they just like the 12th wave. I was already, you know, a few waves beyond what I thought I could, you know, deal with, and the 12th wave was bigger than ever, and it just like tumbled me, and you know, I was getting battered, and it buried me, but it buoyed me up, and I kind of struggling my way out, and it had gone way higher up the beach, and it was like, you know, one of these freak waves, and I got high enough up to get my footing, and it sucked on back down, and I was able to get out, and you know, so that was good. So the next day I played it safe. I went where there wasn't big rollers and stuff like that, and so I'm out there just, you know, enjoying the warm water, and suddenly there's Antoinette, you know, the girl Tony. She's like, it's screeching. She's like, no, what do you mean? Piranha. And I'm like, piranha. I look, there's all these little I was like, I get out of there, there's all these little fins and shit going. I got a feeding frenzy going on out there, and I said, what the? Okay, this is why we're only paying, you know, $3 a night. And so that night, anyway, that was another disaster averted somehow, and we're having a bonfire on the beach, and we're going to cook our dinner, whatever it was, you know, probably, you know, gato,
Critter.
Critter, and so we're having a lovely time, you know, and it's kind of just getting dark, and there's this little Mexican guy with a big sack on his back, and he's walking down the beach, you know. I can see him from a long way off, and he's walking closer and closer, and he's walking right by down the beach. And he goes, oh, senors, I have something to show you. I was like, okay, come on over, you know. Oh, at this time we'd met two Canadian fellows that were also in the huts down there. Yeah, just, you know, have to show up. So we're all having dinner together, and maybe they brought the critter. Anyway, and this little fella comes up with his sack on his back, and I said, what's in the sack? And he goes, oh, it's the best. He opens the sack up, it's marijuana. He's like, ah. I said, oh, I've never actually seen marijuana. I was like, oh, it's a lot. Like it's a great big sack full. And I was like, ooh, that smells good. And he said, oh yes, we make I make for you to smoke. And he brings out these great big papers, this big, and he's like, you know, he's crunching stuff up, and these great big things, you know, he's like handing around and, you know, lighting and going around the circle. And none of us have smoked before, I think. Nobody.
Oh, really?
This is our first time experience. Ever, right?
Wow.
And so we're like, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, yeah, tastes nice. So anyway, joints go around, he rolls another one, joints going around, he's like, so anybody want to buy some marijuana? You know, it's like, what, how much? He says, oh, it's not too much. What do you want? I said, well, maybe, how about you know, he said, like a kilo. He said, you want a kilo? I said, well, yeah, sure. Right, why not? And he said, okay, $70. $70. It was Michoacan. Michoacan, it was like fabulous fucking pot. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Fabulous pot. And anyway, people are just kind of laying back. The Canadian guys drift off, and there's, you know, there's spouting poetry, and, you know, Tony and Tony are like, you know, getting into the, you know, they're starting to, you know, I said, get a room, you know.
Get a hut.
And Moises Morales, he says, oh, he said, you know, and he's like talking, you know, Spanish poetry. I said, well, there's nobody to, you're wasted on me. And anyway, they all drift away, and I'm left, and the little guy had gone up the beach with his sack on his back, and I'm just there was this pile of pot, and this, and I'm like, well, everybody's left, I may as well relax. And I'm, this is the way I was brought up, to party, drink, not change it a bit, just keep your sobriety, and everybody's left, and I go, oh, everybody's gone. Well, I guess I could just relax, and I just lay back and I look up at the stars, and there's all this myriad of, the Milky Way, the galaxy firmament is like, and I like, and then suddenly I'm out there in the stars. Boom! I was just out in the stars, and I'm just tripping through the heavens, through the firmament, and I was gone a long time. I just literally went on an amazing voyage through the heavens, and eventually I kind of came back down, but I never really came back down. I've got all this intoxicant in my system, and I guess I'll get back to my little hut. And next day, we were destined to leave and go back up the west coast, towards San Francisco, and then cross country back to New York. And I drove. Everybody's like, kind of spacey, and I'm just like, I'm spacey. I'm just driving. I think I drove for 3 days and nights nonstop, and I was like tripping the whole way. Suddenly we cross the border. I throw all the pot away because we can't risk taking it across the border. What was I thinking? But it wasn't that much money, right? And I think I put it, dropped it off by this school, like a university or something. Like it's just like free pot. Anyway, so anyway. Sure enough, we cross at San Blas and keep on going up, and eventually arrive at San Francisco, and spend a night. Maybe we just slept. Oh, we slept in a park in the car, and got raided by the police in the middle of about 3 a.m. or something. We had to move on, and so we went to another park and got another few hours kip, and and then. We ended up going to the Haight-Ashbury, where we'd heard that was like where the it was a center of hipdom at that time, and but everybody had gone by then. This was early '69. Now that we were into 1969. The Great Dead had left the mansion or the big house there, and they were in Marin County. And Jefferson Starship, whether with an airplane at that time, they were still in San Francisco, but they were they were on the coast. They had a really cool spot. I visited with them at another time later on, which is another story. But so anyway, all the hip stuff had moved on, and then we just continued across country to New York City. Long drive. We were averaging 1,000 miles a day. Our whole round trip was 12,000 miles, and it was all accomplished in like 12 days driving, which is just a lot of miles, and most of it I drove. And we're coming towards New York City to get back to the apartment and the shops and all that stuff and start again. And everything's been good up until then, and we hit the biggest snowstorm that's hit New York City and in those environs in 80 years. It was just a monster storm, and just the amount of snow. And I'm driving, everything's cool. I come, over this, we're on this big highway, and I come over in this sweeping turn and downhill, and there's this idiot standing out in the middle of the freeway going like this, you know, and all these cars, you know, spinning by him to avoid the idiot. They could have kept on going and going where they were going, like we were just driving, you know. And he got them all, you know, spinning out. He'd spun out, he'd screwed himself up, and now he's like, I'm going to stop everybody, you idiot. So, you know, I'm spinning along with everybody. I was like, oh. We spun our thing out into, I decided I'd go into the snowbank and, you know, stop us, which I did. And we stopped, and we're kind of buried in the snowbank, but, you know, we were able to, you know, I was able to back out. But now the engine is off its mountings. You know, there's a whole bunch of things, you know, not working very well. But I managed to, you know, crawl back into New York City. And as I got right along on, you know, into the village and right along on the curb of where our apartment is, and I stopped the car, and the car went, shh, and it kind of sunk into the gutter, and that's where it stayed until it was, you know, hauled out of there. Anyway, you know, that big, beautiful, expensive car lasted us until we got home again. So
Fabulous.
now we're back.
All right. I think that's a great space. Great stop. Place to stop.
Right.
Well, we hope you enjoyed the story today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Remember, if you like the stories, like and subscribe down below. Bye now.